Hey guys, Thomas up here in Thomas Drives, and today I'm going to review my 1988 BMW E30 318i. So what's my conclusion and what's my summary of this car? It's so simple. It's like this. It's like this cassette over here. Now why? First of all, it looks the same, isn't it? It's like a cassette, the eyes and everything. And the second thing is that it's an analog equipment, just like the car itself. See, today with your modern phones, if you want to listen to a song, you can go and press a few buttons. Hey, you can even talk to your phone and say, Siri, play me this song. But with the old songs, if you want to go backwards or forward, you have to read the instruction manual and you gotta twist to get to which song you want. Let me demonstrate to you how it works. You know what? Let's just start the review. I think to truly appreciate the BMW E30, we have to understand what its significance and what it represents in the automotive industry. Now, this car is known for many things. It's known as a family car, it's known as an executive car, and even in today's times, it's known as a race car, touring car. It's been used as drift cars, drag racing cars. So practically there's a lot of use, but whatever it is, it's one of the most significant cars ever produced by BMW, and I think one of the most iconic cars from the 1980s. But why is it so? Now, first of all, let's talk about the looks. I mean, come on, look at that, right? It's so cute and it looks the part of a classic that which the next few generations started to lose. You know, the E36, the E46, in my opinion, does look like a classic, but it doesn't retain that charm that comes from the 1980s as much as this car over here. So this car has also been dubbed the ultimate driving machine, and lots of people's souls have been stirred by this car's handling and the way it drives, right? And this is actually where BMW put its foot down and stamped and actually declared, not just by words, but by its car, right? Its product, that it's an ultimate driving machine. And I can see why, because its lightweight body, its direct handling and the feedback that comes from the car, it may not be extremely fast. It was fast in those times, but it makes you feel fast and it rewards you for pushing the car. And that's what makes the car an ultimate driving machine. I can see that indeed, even back then. So the BMW E30 have huge shoes to fill because the predecessor to it, the E21, was a phenomenal success. So did the E30 fit the bill? I think it did more than just fitting the bill. In a 12-year run, from 1982 to 1994, right? They produced more than 2.5 million of these cars all around the world. So yes, BMW should be a proud mama, right? Not only they produce cars that is all loved by people around the world, they produce so many different variants as well. 316, 318, 318 IS. There is the 320, 323, 325e, 325i, diesels, M3, Evo 1, Evo 2, and the list goes on. Why? Because BMW could do it. And also they produce lots of body types as well. There is the sedan, there is the coupe, there is the wagon, and there is also the convertible. But I think of all the variants, the best looking one is the variant. And no, not because I own one, because I think of all the variants, it looks more like an angry, boxy cassette tape. So I mean, come on, look at that car, right? Look at that. So if you're looking to buy a classic, you're probably considering the BMW E30. And why? Because why I think is one of the best options out there. Well, number one, there's more than 2.5 million of them sold around the world. So what does it mean for you? It means there are many half carts and many spare parts around the world that you can use to replace the car with, unlike some other more rarer classics. This one is, I'm not saying it's easy, it's probably easier than some of them. The other thing is that because there's such a huge fan base and almost cult-like status for this car, it entices some manufacturers and OEM manufacturers to still produce some of the spare parts as well. And number three, of course, it's a car that is commonly driven around and people know this car. So you got mechanics that have experience fixing this car before, so you won't be left with not a lot of help, right? And besides, there's so many people on the forum who can actually share with you information about the E30. Or something that is really worth talking about the E30 is that E30 actually produced the M3, which is one of the most impressive racing platforms I think ever done. And I saw the numbers, I was baffled. They did in 1,600 plus days, they won more than 1,400 wins. That's almost 90% of being number one. And imagine, to give you some context, if you are actually in school, it's like being on top of the class 90% of the time, right? Unless you got some of those Asian fathers that demands you to have straight A's every single time. You know that meme? Your blood plus B plus, why not A plus? Now before I end, a fair word of warning is that if you're planning to get one of these, be careful because you might get seduced by it. Because based on my research, a lot of people who own E30s end up owning more than one of them. Maybe I'm thinking of getting one of those beautiful wagons as well. Now, enough talking, Thomas. Let's jump straight to the car and see what it's like to drive. So what's it like to drive this car over here? A 33-year-old BMW E30 318i. I can tell you this, it's extremely fun. It's so much fun because it's not because it's fast, you know, or because it takes corners like a crazy guy, but because it's so engaging. You know, the engine sounds incredible for a 4-cylinder, everything, but it feels amazing. You know, you get so much feedback from the car over here. You know, the sound tells you something, the feeling of the steering tells you something, right? It talks to you so much. Even the butt, my butt tells me so much about what's happening in the car. Everything is talking to you. Even the pedals, the brake pedals, the accelerator pedal. It's a car that brings you into its world. And no wonder they sold more than 2 million cars during its production time, because it's such a great car to drive. And the driving position it's fantastic. You know, you have hands up here, you can sit really low, actually lower than most cars. So the impression I get sometimes is like I'm in a go-kart, you know, but with a shell. And when it comes to the handling, the car is extremely nimble. Extremely nimble. You know, it's only 1,065 kilograms claim on paper, this car. And you know, in cars nowadays with all the passive and active safety systems, this will not happen anymore. And because of that, the result is this direct feel and the point and turn kind of experience with this car. So it's kind of like a go-kart, you know, a go-kart that can be practical, you know. And that's why this car is so darn fun to drive. Okay, let's talk about some figures over here. Now, aside from it being fun, some of you watching this video may be thinking like, should I get an E30? Is it too little horsepowers? Well, let's talk about some of those figures over here. It's powered by this car is powered by the 318i. It's powered by an M40 B18. It's the ones after 1987. This is the one with the fuel injection from, what's that? From Bosch, right? The Motojet, the Mototronic, something like that. Okay. But the point is, it's running at 111 brake horsepowers on paper. Now, that's on paper, right? Because this car is 30 years old. I'm not really sure it actually has 111 horsepower. So I'm going to make a wager to all of you. If we have more than 3,000 views, I'm going to take my car on my expense to put on a dyno to see what's the real horsepower in this car. I reckon it's probably around 95. But my friend Johan here, again, the camera thinks it's around 80. So, see who wins. But even if 80 to 100, is it enough horsepowers in this car? Some people say, oh, you should put a bigger engine, swap it out for M50 B25. What do I think? I think it's enough horsepowers. It's fun. It's seriously fun. It's enough horsepowers because of you gotta remember, this car is just slightly over a ton. Okay, and for even though 0 to 100 takes around 10 seconds, 10.3 seconds to be exact on paper. You know, you gotta remember this car is light. It's light, you know, so it is not fast, okay,
but it feels fast. And I always have this saying, and I believe in this, that it is more fun to drive a slow car fast than to drive a fast car slow. And this car gives you that feeling. So if you enjoy driving, if you like the thrill of driving and maneuvering your car, this might be the car for you over here. So one more thing I like about this car is that it's extremely stable on the highway and it feels comfortable on the highway. And you gotta remember, this car is built and designed more than 30 years ago. And look, on the highway, it stays straight, right? And it doesn't vibrate, it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. You can go down the highway and I bring this car up to 110, 120. You can take it to 140 and still feel confident on the highway. And that's massively impressive, isn't it? That they can have this experience in the car for an old car that's 30 years old. You know, and no, I had a Honda City 2006, and bringing up to 90, 100, it feels wobbly and it starts wonking around, and this car doesn't give you that. And it's a 30-year-old car, and that's so freaking magnificent about this car. So it makes it livable. Even if you do highway miles, it's comfortable enough to do it. It's incredible. I love this car. So let's talk about something that is truly unique to this car and makes this car extremely charming, which is the looks. Let's look at the overall design of this car over here. And first and foremost, what makes this car so damn unique is the front. Look at the grille, right? It's so signature BMW. And what I like about this is that it carries out through all the generations to today. You can still see this grille. It all looks nice, except for the newest M3. Let me know in the comments below, what do you really think about the newest grille? But for this one, it looks amazing, isn't it? And the lights and the overall packaging of its looks, you know, it gives you a feeling of a classic car, right? Which I feel that in the E36 and the E46 is starting to lose a little bit of that. This car looks timeless, and that's what I like about this car. It fits every occasion. It's just like a Ray-Ban sunglasses. It will never run out of time. You can do so much with the Ray-Ban sunglasses. You can wear it to a wedding. You wear a full suit. It looks nice. You can go on a holiday. It looks nice. Just like this car over here, right? Everything in a 5-star hotel lobby. It looks amazing. You know, you want to wear this out, drive this car to pick your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or whichever. I don't care. It looks cute and amazing, right? You're going to do this on your grocery runs. You know, on a holiday. It suits all occasions. And that's what I love about this car. And that's why even in today's standards, it looks and it fits the part in an urban, modern society, you know. So, in my opinion, I feel this car will retain more of its classic look than the other newer BMWs. So, this car has a boxy look, but if you notice that it doesn't feel that like a box, it still feels somewhat like a car, unlike like the Volvo, you know, the 240, that looks like a proper brick. But what makes this car look boxy yet not so boxy, which is really smart how they designed this car, is these little lines over here, the front lines, the side lines over there. It makes it look like it's something that moves, you know, like again, unlike the Volvo 240 itself, you know. So let's go a little bit over here, which one of the parts that I love about this car, which is this, the Hofmeister kick, which still lasts to today's 3 Series. And what I like about this is that and I like the name, right? It's called the Hofmeister King. It's as if like some of the German designers feel like, I'm not going to be conforming to the other cars. I'm going to do a little bit different over here. I'm going to go, what? And guess what? It lasted to today. And I love how this looks, and it just retains. And that's the part about owning a BMW. That's why I like the modern BMWs, because it brings that heritage forward. Unlike a lot of other car makers, they stopped doing it, and BMW still does it. So let's talk about the interior from the driver's perspective. And the moment you get into your car, the first thing you get greeted with is this beautiful speedometer and rev counter, right? So what I like about this is that the look and feel of this, it does in today's standards still feel like a quality item. Okay, it's 30 years old, guys, and it still looks magnificent, you know? Now, this instrument cluster, now let's talk about, other than the looks, the actual workability of this. It tends to have a little bit of issue from time to time, is known in this car, but the repair cost isn't difficult, and if you have to replace some of this,
It's not that expensive, and there's many of the stocks around. After all, there's 2 million of these cars built around the world, okay? So this is not a difficult part to replace or to repair, not too expensive, right? Let's talk about the dashboard. Now, if you're planning to get one of these E30s, you tend to find them with a little bit of cracks, right? Because it's kind of old, you know, and the material, you know, back in the days, weren't designed to take the heat, right? So you know, it tends to happen. It's not a big deal nowadays with modern technology. You can kind of replace this, repair this, or replace the dashboard as well. You know, so if you're planning to own one of these, I've always been given the advice to tint the car so that it's not too hot. But if you're planning to put the car under the sun, make sure you cover it. But it's best to keep it in the garage. Down to the center console. Oh, I love this clock. As I mentioned earlier, I love this clock. I wish they kept it in the modern designs of cars. Let's talk about the center console. It's quite straightforward. The buttons are very intuitive, you know, and again, it's angled slightly towards me, so it's very driver oriented, even since the E30s and back in the days. And the classes are fairly easy to use, but you know, to be frank, there are some issues with some of the buttons. The buttons like this one, they tend to get stuck. The icon button, right? So in this, my very advanced repair mechanism, we stuff a plastic stick in here to make sure it stays in when you press the button. But you know, everything is pretty easy, pretty straightforward, you know. And let's come on to some little bit of this quirks about the car that you should know. This box, you should never put your coins in here, or rather inside here, because when it does, it slips into a very little hole. I'm not sure I can show you over there, and it goes into the cigarette lighter or the burner, whatever you call it, and it short circuits and it might cause a fire. So if you're buying this car, make sure either you seal up this hole or never put coins or small items, especially metal, inside here, okay? The gear lever, this is not the original gear lever. I'd like to change it to the flat head, the original gear lever. Again, it's not a difficult part to replace. How about the gear shifting feel? It's not intimidating, it's very pedestrian, it's very easy to use. It's not too sporty either. So, you know, if you want something really nice and awesome and sporty, like it's something like the Honda Civic, then this car doesn't give that to you. But is it sporty enough? Is it? It's enough, okay? But it's more oriented about daily driving, and it's not intimidating. That's what I like about this gearbox over here. But everything else over here seems pretty darn fantastic, you know. Oh, yes, let's talk about one of the things that I don't like about this car and tend to have. You know, I read about it online and talked to some old E30 owners. This tends to be a problem, okay? And let me show you. Let me demonstrate to you, okay? So the locking mechanism seems to always have a problem. So either you have to fix it, or you just have to do what I do. See that? Which is, you gotta use a little bit of force, and then it stays up, right? But it's a common problem about with the glove box. Not a major issue, something for you to know if you're planning to get this car over here, all right? So this is the review from the interior. Bonjour, monsieur and madame. Welcome to my humble abode. As you can see, this boot space of 425 liters is pretty darn large. You can fit a human being in there. So if you're doing any of this human smuggling or human carrying, this fits that practicality standard. But besides the point, it's pretty darn large. It's practical enough for your day-to-day run. The only thing is that you have this huge lift that you got to lift over your heavy stuff to put it in here. But otherwise, practicality reason, this car can carry a lot of stuff, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable over here. Johan? Well, the E30 isn't all that perfect. For example, there are no coffee cup holders in the car. So if you're like me, who do lots of coffee on the go, you might end up holding a coffee cup and trying to shift gears at the same time, which I highly do not recommend, okay? The second thing about this car is that its lack of safety systems, which puts a lot of buyers off. For example, there's no traction control, and depending on which models you buy, they may have ABS or don't have ABS, and it's something for you to consider if you want to purchase this car as well. The third thing is the ride comfort. It isn't the most comfortable car to drive because of its feedback given to you as a driver. It sacrifices some of the comfort. In my opinion, it's comfortable enough for a daily ride, but it doesn't give you that all comfortable feeling. And the fourth thing is that this car, of course, is a 30-year-old car, plus minus. It does need some TLC, right? So if going to the workshop, checking your car often isn't something that you enjoy, perhaps you want to not have this car as well. But the good news is that it's a pretty simple car to take care of, and according to lots of E30 owners I've spoken to, if you take care of the car well, the car takes care of you. That's the way it seems. But let's be honest, the reason you'll be buying this car is because you love the driving experience and you put up with all these other things that the car gives you. And with its lightweight body and its nimble handling, I can see why people dub this the ultimate driving machine.
So what do I think about my BMW E30 318i? Well, first and foremost, it's freaking cool. I mean, look at that. It screams car enthusiast at every single angle. It's something really awesome about this car that is not commonly talked about. It's the ownership experience of networking. You must understand that this car has some sort of heritage, and I've not only gotten compliments, but I got to strike up conversations with people who are successful business people, car enthusiasts from the past. You must remember, this car was desirable back in the days, right? This was a car, it was the goal, and it has stirred many souls because it's such a fun car to drive, as I've spoken about it before, right? So it's a great way to start conversations and meet new friends because you own this car over here. And I would arguably say maybe it's worth getting this car over a new car if you're starting off your career, right? Or maybe it's better to get this car as a second car, as a weekend car, than getting the latest sports car because it's fun and it strikes conversations as well. Now, with the combination of its nimble handling and lightweight body and punchy little engine, it puts a smile on my face every time I drive it. And for most people, I know that's driven this car. If you want a car that has the creature comforts, the better infotainment system and stuff, maybe that's not the car for you. And the question still stands though: is this comfortable enough for a daily ride and practical enough for a daily ride? It is for me. The manual gearbox is pretty easy to handle. Now, the only thing you have to consider when you own this car is the condition of the car when you buy it. The biggest issues that I've been told are rust, body alignment issues, and some of the engine issues. So make sure that you get it checked up before you buy it, alright? And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put a link over here, or a picture or something where you can check out what is the condition of my car, reviewed by a guy who has restored many E30s, and telling me what are the current issues of this car when I buy it. So I'm going to be transparent with you. Not all E30s are perfect. There are some things to fix. I'm going to be documenting the journey of owning this car, its cost, ownership, the maintenance and stuff like that, alright? And of course, is this car reliable enough even for a long distance ride? I'm going to put a link down there. Chris Wee, one of my colleagues with Aurizn and Evo Malaysia, he's taken this car all the way from Malaysia to Phuket and back. So I don't know about you, I think that's reliable enough. So I love this car, I think it's amazing, but end of the day, or one of the other appeal of this car is that its value has been increasing of late. So it is something that is worth to consider if you like to collect this car as well over here. So it's a beautiful car, it drives really fun, it's really naughty. And I just love it. Okay, so this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. By the way, don't forget to share this video, because when we reach 300 views, 3,000 views, I'm going to take the car to a dyno to show you the real power of the car. Okay, with that, thank you so much for watching this episode of Thomas Drives. More to come with my BMW E30 and other car reviews, alright? And if you want to find out more about my channel, we talk about cars, but not only about cars, we talk about content to support aspiring entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs on my channel as well. If you like that, click the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification so you won't miss any of the content below, and don't forget to like this page as well. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.